If you want to feel more confident about your vocal sound, there's an amazing way to expand the sound of your voice, and it uses a technique in Ableton that I think a lot of music producers don't even know exists. The secret is in the plugin Phaser-Flanger, and how you use this plugin can completely transform your vocal sound. Okay, so right here we have just a typical dry vocal recording.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's good when I'm not.
Now, this is kind of a dry sound. If I wanted to really expand the sound of a vocal like this, I could go to Audio Effects, Phaser, and you'll see the Phaser-Flanger plugin. And it's kind of interesting because it's almost like there's a hidden feature in this plugin because, it's not in the title. If I drag and drop this on, you can see there's 3 modes. So I have Phaser-Flanger and Doubler. So Doubler is very similar to these effects that will create a lot of stereo impression of something that's otherwise up the center. And when we turn this on, you'll hear a difference right away.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's good when I'm not.
I definitely recommend wearing headphones if you're watching this on an iPhone or an iPad or something. It might be, you'll hear the modulation probably, but maybe not the stereo impression, which is crazy the moment you turn this on. Now, it's kind of a late timing, so what I do is I dial this back to 40. I think you can go as low as 20, yeah. But 40 milliseconds, and then you can kind of dial it in with the amount that you want in terms of how much of this you want this to do.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's good when I'm not.
So now we have this stereo impression. Go back to the dry sound.
You make me insecure, you make me insecure.
All of a sudden, the vocal just got really wide, which is really useful. And then with basically anything in Ableton, this is a really cool feature. If you highlight an audio effect or an instrument and just hit Control G or Command G on Mac, it's going to instantly group that track. Hit this little button on the bottom and it's showing the chains. If I go ahead and right click, I can hit Create Chain. And now I go back to having that original dry signal. So I can mix the two together using these little blue volume faders.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's good when I'm not.
Now obviously there's a bit of a volume jump, but you'll hear the sound just gets bigger.
You make me insecure,
From that
you make me insecure.
to that. And you can obviously balance the two elements together how you want. But parallel running this is really useful.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's good when I'm not.
Now you can easily double down on this effect by highlighting the chain that we created that had that doubler effect and hitting Control or Command D. Control on PC, Command on Mac, by the way. And now I just duplicated it. Why would I do that? If I go to the timing and maybe I double it to like 80 milliseconds, it's going to add on almost like a further clone of that sound that's even later.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's good when I'm not.
Now, besides the volume increase, you might be noticing that the signal's getting later and later, or lazier and lazier. It's like you're extending the timing of the vocals, and you could go even further, duplicate again, and hit this one at 120 milliseconds, and now the sound will get even lazier.
You make me insecure.
Now for that volume increase, let's just go to the utility plugin, and we'll pull back the gain so we're not overloading ourselves here.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's good when I'm not.
So this is where we started again.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's good when I'm not.
And this is where we are now.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's good when I'm not.
Now, of course, for the lazier part of the signal, the 120 millisecond one, you could dial that back. Like let's say this is -10, this one's -5, this one's -2. And so you can kind of have a cascading effect where the latest part of the signal is also the quietest. So if you're trying to make sure you don't obfuscate or bury the vocal in too much modulation lateness kind of thing, you can kind of just balance it with those volume faders.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's good when I'm not.
I really like this because we are adding modulation as well, obviously. But you can then add the chorus plugin and kind of add that extra little shine to the sound. But in this case, I'm going to drag and drop it into where it says drop audio effects here. So I can instantly create that parallel chain with the chorus. And the main idea with this is to keep things balanced or in control, is make sure all of these effects including the chorus we just dragged in, make sure that's 100% wet, because you're kind of dictating the balance through the volume faders, these little blue areas right here.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's going on.
So that's pretty cool. You can turn the amount way up, pull back the volume.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's going on.
And now you have that extra modulation in the sound. And again, we'll go back to where we started. You're going to hear a huge difference in the sound.
You make me insecure, you make me insecure, I pretend that it's going on.
You know, you get a similar effect from this. I did a whole tutorial series on my Patreon about layering your vocals, specifically by re-recording vocals with a different performance, so your human variation creates that nice natural effect of, you know, different timings and modulation. That's a really cool thing. I highly recommend checking it out. I'll link it down below. But this technique, you can do it with stock plugins from other DAWs totally fine. And it just creates a huge vocal sound, which you can take as far as you really want to go. For instance, I can go down to our doubler effects here, and you can see that the rate is set to a time sync. If I go to hertz, I have more control over that speed, and I can turn this frequency rate up.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's going on.
If you want to go really fast, turn the amount down. You'll see those two dots get closer together, and turn the rate up. Usually around 1 to 3, you're going to have a faster sound, but it's more manageable and still musical. So we'll just solo that chain.
You make me insecure, I pretend that
You can see it's wiggling around a little faster.
you make me insecure.
I tend to find past 3 it gets a little more alien-y sounding. I mean, you might be going for that for a more modern kind of thing, but
You make me insecure.
mix it in with the dry.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's going on.
And find that sweet spot with the amount. And you could take this effect and just apply it to the other ones. So if I go like this, I need to make a quick switch. Copy this, Control or Command C. Then I'll go over to this one and I'm gonna replace it. You can also just click inside an empty region and then hit, you know, Command or Control V for paste and place it there. This was the last one. This is 120 milliseconds. So again, we have a faster rate, but this cascading time effect happening.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's going on.
And maybe on the latest ones, we turn that amount down. So you're kind of looking at the knobs that will kind of variate the sound. And usually what I tend to do is the latest effect or the craziest effect, I control the amount or the timing from there.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's going on.
So now we've created that effect with a faster speed or a faster rate. Let's go ahead and compare the dry wet again.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's going on.
And turn it back on.
You make me insecure, I pretend that it's going on.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea. I actually did another Patreon tutorial where we went way further into this idea with multi-effects. So reverb, slapback delay, multi-tap delay, and also tying all of this to different like one knob macros that you can easily just download, drag and drop into your sessions and get really great vocal effects in like seconds. But I think it's really important to know this stuff from the ground up, you know? Doubler effects do exist in Ableton. They're fantastic. It's a lot like those legendary plugins that you'll see music producers use all the time for these similar effects, but you can get them stock in Ableton. And I'm not exactly sure, let me know in the comments if you know, but I feel like the doubler feature is relatively new to Ableton 12 or something like that. Someone might know in the comments, but it's pretty fascinating. It was kind of hidden to me when I found it. So if you found this interesting, hit the like button and subscribe for more. Check out the link in the description below for the Patreon. There's so much stuff in there about vocal effects, building your own chain. I do custom vocal chains for my Patreon members, and we just started doing ad-free live streams for audio engineering, which is really fun stuff. There's also a whole course there I built over the summer on vocal production. So if this is something that means a lot to you, definitely check out the link in the description. But even if you just want to hit that like button and subscribe, it does so much for the channel. Thank you guys so much for your support. I'll see you all later. Have fun with your music.